Tour is another winner for Ruby Walsh.
And it's Jeffy Zassoil who clears away, and Chantry House has taken the masked novices chase. Galopin des Champs is away and clear, and he's out of the safety. No, he's not. He's up on top landing, and he is down. Galopin des Champs is down at the last. How fortuitous is he? He is the one who's putting the clear round, and Bob Olinger is 3 out of 3 over Vincent.
Thursday. It's a day that I think I've got quite a few winners. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go through the card on the Thursday, so we'll probably keep this video quite short. Jamie's a little bit annoyed that we didn't talk about the bumper on the last day, but maybe at some point when I let Jamie speak, he can pipe up about what he fancies in there. The time is definitely going on because we don't need to talk about this race for very long. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, Segehad was the one that everyone thought was going to be Willie Mullins' Turner horse. As it stands at the moment, we don't even know which one of Willie Mullins' Arkle horses is going to revert to the Turners. But that's the way that I feel about all of these types of horses. None of them are the Turners' horse. They're coming here as maybe potentially a second option. The one horse that is just going to win this race is Mighty Potter. And I know he jumped a little bit iffy the last day, and probably a little bit iffy's an understatement, and Daryl's going to have a go at me for that. But a horse that can do what he did and made a couple of mistakes just makes you think how much better he could be. I can't remember the Racing Post rating, but I'm pretty sure it was 160, if not above. And that's the sort of level of a horse that would come into these races and would just absolutely hack up. I remember when Yorkville came here and won, and it was just, he was just a much better horse than everything else. Again, just dropping Daryl's name in there. You loved this horse last year for Cheltenham, and I think we've got a massive favour in the fact that everything went wrong before the start of that Supreme last year. He twatted into a rail. I think he got knocked into. He made loads of mistakes, all that sort of stuff. And I know someone might say to me, well, his best form is right-handed and he hasn't got the Cheltenham form and it is a bit of a question mark around him. And yes, that is potentially true, but it was so bad last year you couldn't use it as a line. It's not like your notebooks that, again, I got sucked into with an Arkle where you'd seen him badly perform in a Ballymore the year before. You got to put a line through that Cheltenham run last year. And that's not being kind. That's just a fact. It was like everything went wrong from that day. He was always going to be a better chaser. We even talked about him last year, especially Daryl saying that he probably needed further. Even Jamie said the same. Don't run the Supreme. He's probably a Ballymore horse, but maybe he's a horse that just needs time. He is an offensive price at the moment in the fact that you can get 4-1 still with Bet365. He's 3-1 non-runner money back of William Hill, which has been slipped. So when they did that market, not many have been cut, but you could have got 7-2. You still get 3-1. The way I see it is Gerhard's not going to be seen. It will be one of Willie Mullins, it will be a second thought for any of his horses that come here. He's going to go off 6-4. And whether he likes Cheltenham or he doesn't like Cheltenham, we will find out. But he is a proper bet at this point. And I think Mighty Potter does win the Turners. I've seen nothing that I think could possibly beat him. So that's why he's my nap of the week, as we talked about at the beginning of it. I think he's a proper bet. I would say start getting stuck into him because he's going to go off a lot shorter than he is now. Daryl, you did like him last year as a hurdler. I don't think you've been as keen on him as a chaser this season, but not by design. I think, not saying he was an afterthought or anything like that, but like, do you like Mighty Potter? Do you think he can win the Turners? Are you as keen as I am?
I loved him last year, like proper loved him. Like thought he could be the next Envoy Allen, if you like. Like that's how much I liked him. I do think he's very, very, very good. He's a little bit clumsy now. Like I always say, you know, we want a novice to make mistakes and still win because it shows how big their engine is. That would be the one concern for me. Is he's just got a fall in him, or a touch when he doesn't, you know, or a silly mistake. He has got it in him, but he is a novice and he's still learning. And it was so much improved again from the first day to the second day when winning the Drimwall last time. I loved him in that Drimwall. I don't know why I've been slightly reluctant to put him onto my column, and I don't know why, because when I was watching that Drimwall, the way he was cantering around, I know it was a soft ground that day and it didn't suit Banbridge. I think he'll be a much improved performer in the spring, but he was just like doing a half stride and like he was just lobbing along and everything else was trying to go with him. He's one of those horses that has got one of those nice long strides, you know, like if you look at a Shishkin or you look at an Energumen, right? Or you look at a Galopin des Champs, yeah. I'm not saying he's as good as he could be as good as any of those horses, but the way they're good movers, the way they stride through a race, they're just everything else is doing two strides to their one stride. That's how you can notice a good moving horse. And his jumping was really improved. He pecked twice, I think, at two separate occasions in the race, but do you know what? I watched it back earlier before we did this, right? He got one tap. He got one tap of that stick, right? And he fucking shot away. Do you know what I mean? Like this is one of the best value price horses of the entire anti-post market at the moment, in my opinion. And I think it's because the market is gambling on Appreciate El Fabiolo or one of those coming in here to keep his price honest. And you know what? They're different owners. If they don't, you could be right. It could be 6-4 in a day, and it could be a small field. I'm in agreement. The more I look at him, the more I watched it. Honestly, he gets me like, he gets me a little excited. Yeah. So I'm happy to be on Banbridge though as well at 12 sort of thing. No, I am happy to be on Banbridge at 12. So I know he's done a good figure. I know he's a spring horse. I know he wants good ground. So. And we know he can jump well. We know he's been done it around the track. So I'm happy to be on him at a price. Would I back him again now? No, I wouldn't. The only horse in this market I would back now is Mighty Potter.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the anti-post betting, isn't it? You can back a horse, even like your Time Hill, you can back a horse, they can have a bad run, but they can still come back and run well, or they can still come back and win. That's why you want to get a few in your book. Speaking of getting a few in your book, I would imagine that Jamie's had a few kind of Mighty Potter anti-post. When we talked the other day, Darren, we looked at Betfair odds checker, didn't we? 6 or 7 to 1 is the biggest prize he's been for this race since sort of April last year. And given Sir Gerhard was in here as a shorty as well, we all moan about, oh God, the long-term anti-post value's gone. At that point, backing him at 6 or 7 to 1 would have been obscene, not seen him jump a fence. We have seen him jump fences and we have seen him win nicely. And that's where I mean you can still get that 4 to 1 with Bet365. It's like you say, from a value perspective, I think he's mega in there. Jamie, we know you like as well because you mentioned it about at the beginning. I stole your nap. No, I don't even know if we do need to talk about any other horses. Let's just make this all about the Mighty Potter show. Have you backed him anti-post? What price did you get?
6 to 1.
Yeah, I mean that's good, isn't it? But that's what I mean about now. You can still get
but look, I've equally backed as many bets on Sir Gerhard in the race as well. Like, but we won't go there.
But that's what I mean. So just on that, right?
Yeah.
So there, like again at the beginning of it, so say they were both 6 to 1, which they might have been in and around that. You're getting like sort of like, I don't know, what is it, like 7 to 2? It's not even that 7 for you two, but 5 to 2ish, isn't you? For the two of them anti-post. We know that Sir Gerhard is no longer with us. I mean, he's probably alive, but he's not coming here. And you can still get 4 to 1 about Mighty Potter on his own, the only one that could win it. I think he's a ridiculous price, but I've already said that. Jamie, I'll let you talk. You've got 1 minute 55 seconds.
1 minute 55 seconds. Yeah. I think he'll win, Dave. Yeah, like it's like exactly what Daryl said there. It's just the way he tanks through a race now. Like, you know, and I take that Supreme race with a pinch of salt last year, as he said, bumped the rail, probably taken out of his comfort zone at the start of the race, and he should have been in the Ballymore. Now I know he won a punches down at the end of the year, beat Sir Gerhard, but Sir Gerhard is not a punches down horse, to put it that way, yeah. Like, it all depends who Willie Mullins brings here. Like, to be honest, in the top of my head, I'd like to see Appreciate up against him here, because I think Appreciate will keep him honest and is I suppose, but you jumps a straighter. You know he'll get around where there's always that little bit of an inkling where Mighty Potter could be tanking at the fourth last at the top of the hill and boom, gone. Do you know what I mean? It's just one of those things in my head that you would be a little bit worried about that. But as it, like, if he's there at the last, like, and he jumps, he's not going to beat him. Like, do you know what I mean? I like what Dara said, that James de Burley is one that is in the top of my head there. Could he go back to 2 miles? But to me, I think he'll run here. And then he's the pace angle of the race. Now, will Mighty Potter sit in behind him and just take a lead off him is another thing. But his finishing effort, as Dara, wasn't that great to me. I thought he was going to run out of power. I thought he's gone here. Like, but look, it was a nothing race the last day at Fairy House. He's on my radar, a bit of 12 to 1 top price each way. In my head, all depends of the Fabiolos and the Appreciated Spurs where they're going to come here to stake on Mighty Potter. But to be honest with Dave, he's my nap. He's a great value at 4 to 1. I think he's a real good horse. And if he gets around, he'll win.
Beauty. So I think that's the way to look at it at the moment. They're obviously, we're putting the line through the Supreme. Potentially we shouldn't do that, but I feel like at this point in time,
different track. This is a different track. This is a new course.
Oh yeah,
the new course will suit him down to the ground.
Yeah, it will, yeah.
But you know, when people all say like the festival theme, all that stuff, all I'm thinking is just at this point of recording, which is just after Christmas, we still got some more information to find out, haven't we? When you're looking down the market, it may be James de Burley comes, it may be that El Fabio comes, all those sorts of things, but I wouldn't want to risk their price. I don't think there's enough value in there. Mighty Potter at 4-1 is just an absolute, not max bet, but you should get him. You should get stuck into him. I'm sure plenty already have. But that is my nap of the week. He wins the lot. And this is why I'm going through the card on Tuesday, because it's a piece of piss. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and click one of the links for the next video.